Welcome to Dan's Place, Rhode Island's #1 stop for amazing food, drinks, and live entertainment. Dan's Place offers a fantastic selection of unique menu items, including pizzas, pasta, steaks, and seafood. Here's what our customers have to say: a masterpiece on a crust. Watch your favorite New England teams on one of Dan's 4 big screen TVs. Looking for a great place to meet? Try Dan's Place.
I'm Dan from Dan's Place, where your only regret is not coming in sooner.
It's even lined.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to Settling the Score. John, you want to introduce yourself, buddy?
Well, thank you, voice from upstairs. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. John Parenti, Mike Green. A special female guest. Now, I should say that last week we expected Molly Green to be here, but she apparently was on a huge run through the Super Regionals in Division II softball. We'll get to that in a minute.
Sure.
So we've invited my wife, Barbara, who's going to lay in some interesting perspective knowledge on us today.
Yeah, this is, yep.
And get into the psyche
Should
of
we have a wives club and, you know, bring
bring
Cheryl?
Cheryl
She'd have,
over,
a lot,
that would've
she'd have a
been
lot
great.
to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure she would.
Yeah.
Johnny Booth will be joining us at some point during today's activity, but we're here for the next hour talking sports, talking different things, and let's lead off with Molly and the run of the Assumption Greyhounds through the Super Regionals and your perspective on what went on.
It was a roller coaster kind of season through emotions. Like privately with her, wasn't her best year, but offensively, but defensively she played great, and so fast track into the playoffs. She had a great playoff run. I guess that's when it really counts the most, is making sure you're hitting the ball during the playoffs. She did really well. They won the NE10s, their conference, which has never been done. So it's a trophy in the case, which I was trying to explain to her. That's historic. It's going to be there. And it's going to collect dust. And, the more they win, the further down the row it gets. But at least right now it'll be up and where everyone can see it. She's excited to get a ring, during the probably one of the half times of the football game. So it was great. They totally overachieved. They were a good team, and then when they beat we were a 4th ranked team going in. So everyone they beat was really an upset, so to speak. Kids did great. We made it to we won the 1 regional, then went to Super Regional, played a tough St. Thomas Aquinas team at home, and we lost both games, but it went to extra innings to do so. So there wasn't a game where it was lopsided victories anywhere. It was actually just really close throughout the whole game.
Well, backtrack because we've talked about Molly before, but I don't think many people in our listening area or our viewing area realize that she's a homegrown. She's from Prout. All-stater after her years at Prout. A couple of years now at Assumption under her belt. Yep. And heading for her junior year, which is pretty cool when you consider you got 2 more years of this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's kind of watching those senior parents yesterday when the game was over and they knew their daughters, softball careers ended. It's very it's melancholy because you're happy that now it's moving on, and it was all good stuff, but it is an end because if you like for Molly, she's been playing softball since she was 8.
Do you, as a parent, knowing that your daughter's chances are coming to the end soon, feel more of that bittersweet moment watching?
I'm not good at this because I'm a very emotional person, so so it's very difficult. So I just kind of keep it in perspective right now. She's a sophomore. She finished. It'll hit me probably, going into her senior year, I think, as a lot of parents did,
Do you think it'll hit you harder than it hit her, or it will hit her?
I think to get in their mindset, I really do believe that at some point they've always realized this is going to end. And at some point they might end up playing in like the co-op, some co-ed league somewhere for wherever she works, but she's probably not going to ever have a opportunity again unless she wants to coach, to put on gloves and go out in the field and throw the ball around. I think they're okay with it. I think for its parents, it's an ending of a piece of your life as a parent with your kid, and then so that ends. And where do you go from here? Like what do you have together? What's that bond you share?
A wedding?
That dude, whoever they can go. See, I can actually separate that. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's not that. It's the because that's my job, right? As a dad, as a parent, to kind of get them through life to where they start their own life and they're safe and happy and healthy. Like, so that part's, that's the next step. But right now, softball's it's kind of our connection, so when that's over, she's going to have to figure out what to do. I'm going to have to figure out what to do. And,
It goes back to the real world.
she's going to have to go to the real world. Yeah, right now, she should be.
But no, right now, he and Cheryl will be sitting there saying, what do we do today? We don't have a game to go to.
Yeah, right now, yeah. And we do that in the summer, actually. Like, what's it? That changed when they stopped playing travel, because travel was all summer. Once she went to college, it was that big piece stopped. And so you adjust as it happens. You find things that kind of occupy your time. So
Now, among the things that happened historically to this team was they knocked off the number one seed in the ND10 tournament, Franklin Pierce, which had won 40 games in like a 58 season.
yeah,
They must have been pretty good.
yeah,
Obviously.
the old saying, figures lie and liars figure. Never saw a team with basically a collective batting average over 400 die on the vine. Home field scorebook can be changed. I think errors can turn into hits pretty quick.
And they do often.
Yeah. So I mean, statistically,
At all levels.
So you try to. The one thing that was always impressive with Assumption and our other schools that we faced is the character of the teams we play, and so Franklin Pierce it was very disheartening to sit there and listen to the words that came out of the players' mouths, the coach's mouth, So them losing, no one's going to shed a tear over Franklin Pierce. Their behavior was terrible. The way they conducted themselves was terrible. Now Molly had said, the girls were at the end of the game, girls were cordial and everything, but during the game it's awful. And I believe that coach is no longer actually employed by the school. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I don't, you gotta coaching character even at that age is important, and
I want to talk about the tournament atmosphere because, again, I'll go back to like days of Johnson and Wales. When the NCAA came in to run a tournament at your place, everything was very regimented. Everything was in place. There were news conferences that were mandatory, win or lose. There was other activity before the game in preparation that had to be done. Had to have a PA outside the scores and timers and everything had to be in place. Did you find that enhanced the student-athlete experience? And then we'll talk about the experience as a parent.
actually no, not really. Surprisingly enough, because
That does surprise me.
we played the NE10 tournament at Franklin Pierce, and then the first round was at Franklin Pierce, so there was no real big changes other than the fact there was a couple more there's more signage, and they charged you. They actually walked around and grabbed $10 from everybody. So that was like maybe the biggest notice that we, as a parent, for players, I think, there was a set time you could go in your dugout. There was a set time you could go on the field.
Yeah.
You really couldn't do that. So I thought that was very structured and very routine. Then we ended up, when we went to St. Thomas Aquinas, we played there too. So it wasn't a different venue. Girls didn't walk in and go, "Oh my God, this is a ballpark." So it was the same field. What the NCAA did was they brought in some portable bleachers. That didn't help because we went and sat where we always sat anyways. But again, it was a little more structured. The announcements were a little more, formal. They announced everybody, but there wasn't really a real big difference between a normal game and an NCAA.
So now St. Thomas Aquinas goes to
They're going to go to Chattanooga. They're going to play there. Every game was so close. I mean, now you're going to separate the wheat from the chaff. What's that? Right saying? So,
You're very philosophical today,
yes,
Michael.
yes. I'm tired.
I was going to say,
So
this
it's a
you're
long day.
tired.
So what happens is, those other teams of St. Leo, all those teams are from down south or central, America, in the central area in America. So they play softball all year round. There's a lot more. So anyone coming from the Northeast region is really kind of at a disadvantage as far as the number of games being played. So we wish St. Thomas Aquinas the best. There's a Rhode Island girl on there. Sophia Murillo was an all-stater at Cranston West, and her and Molly were, the same, came out the same years. And Sophia is a designated player. She does very well, big bat. So, we still have some Rhode Island representation down there.
As a dad, you were concerned about Molly's offense. And sure enough, first game of the Super Regional, she had a double, I believe.
Did great. Actually, she did great. I'm trying very hard to just kind of be mellow about it. I just sit there and but it's hitting. It's so mental. It's as long as she's swinging and not freezing, that's a good thing. Yeah, I think she was 4 for 6. I think in the 2 games, did fine. I think she ended okay. I don't think she was upset about how it ended.
Long drive.
Long drive. Glad it's over. I got a lease. I can't be taking this thing all over the place. I'm poor. I'm going to be stuck in that stupid Bronco forever. I have to keep on rolling over the points. So, that's it. It's over. Fork in it. Now she's going to go get a job. She's starting to scoop ice cream. Now she needs a job. So anyone listening who's in accounting, she's an accounting major. She needs to do her internship. So,
What about you now? There's no more travel bowl to go to.
nothing. I'm
All
going to
summer.
dedicate all my free time to the West Warwick High School because I took some time to watch her play. So, the superintendent has been great. Principal Hinson's been great. Everyone else is very understanding. I think that's kind of the best thing. You can have a superintendent that really says, well, if you want to do that, you better go somewhere else. And I've heard that to other people, but not ours. Ours is, family first. And so, throughout my 10 years in West Warwick, there's been times when my kids had certain events that were kind of couldn't miss, unmissable. And she was very, gracious to say, yeah, go. And now I'm going to be working all year, though, so I have no vacations at all, so that's it.
And what better segue than to talk about the West Warwick baseball and softball teams who begin action this coming week in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The softball team will be doing the softball game on Tuesday at 4:30. Hit.
Versus
Versus, who they play? East Greenwich.
East Greenwich. East Greenwich is always a tough team. We'll see what happens. I mean, the co-op, it depends on what side of the fence you're on. Some real diehard townies, either from Warwick or from West Warwick, don't necessarily agree with the fact that there's a co-op. They're not very happy that it's a co-op. However, what they fail to understand is without the co-op, there's no team.
Right.
And there's really there's no more negotiating. There's not like there's 8 girls sitting in the dugout not playing. That what they have is they're playing those kids. Maybe there's a few substitutes that are in the dugout, but for either team, And I think I heard that Warwick is proposing that any co-op has to be between the 2 schools, Pilgrim and Tollgate. Coming from Warwick.
Beginning when?
Oh, I don't know. And it's just I think that school committee will. I can't see people wanting to do that, but it would make sense, right? You get 2 high schools. If you have to co-op, don't you co-op together?
You would think there's a little bit of communality in doing that, and a little bit more of that saving of the community spirit, because now they become, like Pawtucket, they become a municipal co-op.
And I think what happens is, I think the argument is, without kind of saying you don't want your kids to play with these kids, is they lose their identity. Because now, each school's had a very traditional, they've years of their own identity as who they are, either Tollgate or Pilgrim, Shea, Tolman, those. But I think, the history becomes watered down when people move out and people move in and there's no sense of tradition. We're not there at West Warwick yet, but Coventry is a very traditional school, in and out, alumni, parents, kids. West Warwick's like that. Tollgate's probably like that to an extent. So they don't want to lose their own identity. So that's kind of the fight. I think the push against that is.
And the identity shift gets worse when you're talking basically hockey, where you've got the Blackstone Valley Co-op, which is
all over the place.
Lincoln, North Smithfield, Blackstone Valley Prep, blah, 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 blah. There's like 5 schools.
Yeah, there is no tradition, there is no sense of history, right? You're writing it every season you play, so
Right.
It is a little different, I think. We'll see what happens, though. But nonetheless, it's been a good ride for Brian Palazzo and the staff there. We'll see what happens. Only one senior on West Warwick, so they should be pretty good.
They've more than survived with Bryce Principe out for the
Right.
entire year, and I understand that she probably will not participate in the playoffs because of her elbow.
Yeah, so I think that type of injury is very common to pitchers, softball pitchers. It's kind of muscular in the back, so it's that constant pull, that draw, that windmill action, with all the reps and the constant throwing. There's inflammation there, and it takes a while to kind of take that inflammation out of there.
And meanwhile, right across the way at McCarthy Stadium, Rich Grenier's team is rocking it.
We'll see. They've had this. This has happened before, right? We've been there before. These are common conversations. You didn't lose a lot.
But there's a difference, and I'll get to that in a minute. So go on with your dissertation, and I'll poke.
You got to
holes
win
into
when it counts.
Yeah.
That's it. You can get there and have great years and have all the potential in your lineup and look at how good you're going to be, and still not answer the call when you need to.
Because they've been there, they'll be better. And I'll tell you, they have. And now I saw Charahoe for the first time yesterday. Boots and I did the Charahoe-Burrillville qualifying game. There are teams that rely on that one arm, that one strong arm.
Yeah.
West Warwick hasn't even used their one arm more than
Right.
17 or 18 innings
I know.
in Anthony Burt.
Right.
Mason Hunt has carried the load.
Yes.
Mike Sabata, a freshman,
Yeah, Mike's
has
been
really
great.
carried the load. And now, and I don't know if you know this because you were away, Nick Andrewchow is starting to pitch a little bit.
So who's catching?
Satola.
Okay.
And this
Nick-
harkens back, West Warwick historians will like this one. Sean Carey played right field for Lou Pilato and me back in the late 80s, early 90s. Excuse me. Sean was an outfielder, had a great arm, went to Springfield College after playing high school ball. Never pitched for us, ever. Went to Springfield, made his mark as a pitcher, and closed out a lot of games because his arm was so strong. Nick Andrewchow was much the same way.
Sure.
It wasn't until last week that Richard and Matt started to work with him. They threw him into a game toward the end of the regular season, threw 7 innings, shot out ball, and they couldn't touch him. So I mean, if you get into a situation where Mason Hunt carries the load into the 5th or 6th and starts to tire,
Yep.
now you don't have to go to a freshman who hasn't been proven. Not that they have a lack of depth because they used 7 or 8 pitchers this year.
Right.
But now you come to Nick Andrewchow, who number one is probably one of the most confident kids on that entire team, both offensively and defensively. You put him on the bump, and all of a sudden he'll get you 9 strikes, and you'll be going into the next round.
Right.
Their key in baseball, at least with the schedule being the way it is, if you win on Tuesday, you play on Thursday. If you play on Thursday, now you've got to wait for those teams to come out of the losers bracket.
Right.
So Thursday will be the key game in the pod.
Right.
And then they play again until Sunday. So I think the roadmap is there, I think, for the Wizards.
Okay.
If they play their best ball. And right now they're playing their best ball.
Well, this is when you need to, just like Assumption. You got to play it in the playoffs. That's when it counts the most. So we'll see. That's interesting because Nick's got a great arm.
I think we're still waiting for Boots, who's at work and is going to join us at some point, or so he says. It's almost time to grab a break, I think. Let me check my handy-dandy watch here. We've got a lot of other things to discuss, little things. You got any questions for Coach Green?
Not yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beware, they're coming.
All right, thanks.
So we hope that Ben is ready in the other room in Studio B or Control Room B. As you're watching Settling the Score here on 321, Mike, Barbara, Boots, and I will all be back after we take a little bit of a timeout.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. Rhode Island is full of incredible businesses, family-run shops, growing startups, and companies that shape our community. At Lathrop Insurance, we help business owners protect what they've built with insurance programs crafted around their industry, risks, and goals. Your business deserves more than one-size-fits-all coverage. Lathrop Insurance, solutions-driven protection for businesses that drive Rhode Island.
I'm Dale Soul, the owner of Shoreline Painting and Cabinet Refinishing. My vision for the company has always been to elevate paint contracting. When you call, you get a live person. Typically, we have estimates out the same day. We have really good communication with our customers daily. We make sure you're completely happy before we leave the project. We service residential and commercial customers. The commercial work we do is typically more community oriented. We just completed a expansion of our shop. We added 3 more spray booths to allow us to increase capacity. You can find us at 77 Stillman Ave in Pawcatuck. You can find us on our website at shorelinepaintingri.com, or you can call the office 401-834-1684 to book an estimate.
Since 1974, Bill's Place has been serving up great times and unforgettable food. From family celebrations to post-game meals, it's the spot Kent County calls home. Right on Main Street in West Warwick, Bill's Place has been part of the community for over 50 years, and it just keeps getting better. Come see what everyone's been raving about. For takeout, call 401-828-2300 or visit us online at billsplaceri.com. Bill's Place, where tradition meets great taste.
I'm Johnny Mack, General Manager here at Sandy Motors, and since 1988 we've been making car buying wicked easy for Rhode Islanders. So come with me and let's go see how wicked easy we make it when car buying. From cars, trucks, and SUVs, Sandy Motors has the selection you want at the price you want. Get approved now and see all our inventory at sandymotors.com. Every vehicle in certified condition for you to drive for many years to come. Sandy Motors, where making car buying is wicked easy.
Oh, let's go down to Toscano's. Men shop downtown Westerly, where style and class go hand in hand. You can look your best and dress to please. Buy the right shoe, get the left one free. And if Paulie makes fun of you, you get an even bigger discount too. Toscano's men's shop since 1911.
Moving fast.
And welcome back.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Ben Bobber.
Well, somebody needed to say them.
Thank you.
We do welcome you back to Settling the Score. Waiting for Johnny Boots to make his cameo appearance, but right now Barbara's filling in, making some history as the first ever female co-host of Settling the Score.
Even way back when it was
Even
just
back
radio
in the way
days.
back when it was just the radio days. That's right.
Pretty neat.
So let's get back to some statewide stuff and talk a little bit about what the league may be thinking about in the coming weeks as we approach football season and the fall.
Football season. Oof. I think everything's kind of just moving forward. I don't think there's any shocking news yet. I think everything's kind of just full steam ahead, and I'm sure those football coaches are getting ready with their summer off-season workouts and plans and conditionings. And
what about scheduling? Is most of that done now?
Done. Yeah, it's been done. Usually it has to be done early, especially when those teams want to go and choose outside the state. They need to kind of, because every state has different schedules, so you're trying to sync them up. So you have to kind of get ahead of that early.
Do other states, Massachusetts and Connecticut in particular, have the same RPI system?
Yes.
Now that
it's
do?
awful. I think it's terrible. But, and I'll give you an example, and then we'll go back to softball. So Charahoe is undefeated in Division I, beat LaSalle twice. LaSalle is ranked 1 and Charahoe is ranked 2 because LaSalle chose to play Bishop Feehan, Taunton, and I think it's maybe somewhere up in Wachusett. Right. Anyways, they played 3 Mass teams. Taunton's ranked number 1 in Mass. They beat them, so they get those RPI points. But really, you're comparing, Rhode Island. You're playing your Rhode Island school. You should be playing your rank should be based on Rhode Island schools, not what other schools have played outside. So that's why I've never been a real fan. I'm still not a fan of it necessarily. I think that we're a small state, in that I think we're trying to make it bigger than what it needs to be. you know, you have your member schools. You're in the division. You can argue the alignment if you want, but the alignment's the alignment, and therefore, you know, if you want to have a creative schedule, great. If you want to go play those teams, great, but it really shouldn't impact where you fall.
Is the RPA argument being driven by the private schools? Because
one would say that's where it started. I don't think it's being driven. So I think some public schools do a good job with it. So Charo, you know, to argue that their point, they chose to play in their non-league game, or the games off division games. They chose to play West Warwick, and they chose to play Division 2 and 3 schools. It does nothing for you to play a team that's down if you're a good team. Now, if you're a team, you know, I would recommend to those. You can't get out of your top division if you're stuck in Division 1. I would recommend, and this is the good thing, is they allow the league allows coaches and ADs, you either take 80% of your schedule, and then we'll do 80, and you fill the rest, or 50. We'll give you 50, and then you go get 50%. So if you find yourself down the bottom of a division you really think you're overpowered in, I would recommend that you do 50%, and you petition to league to say, listen, don't give me the iron. So if I have 5 games in my division, please don't give me the iron. You'll decimate my program. You know, can you give me those, you know, 6, 7, 8 teams, and then I'll go get my other division games. That way you might be a little more balanced. You know, so that would be that's how you. It's not an easy thing, and some schools get stuck in divisions, you know, alignments that aren't favorable. You gotta work with what you have. So,
thinking outside the box and bringing back some of my administrative duties, are resources a problem or an advantage for, let's say, a Hendricken that wants to take its football team to Long Island or Central New York?
No, quite the opposite. Surprisingly enough, you know, I think it is a financial burden for those teams to go out and get a bus and go to Long Island or go play outside the state. It is a burden. The bus, it's the transportation is what crushes teams. So that's why some teams don't change. And you'll say, well, why don't you just go to a NESCAC, go to a school that's a prep school and then play in the prep league? It's not cost effective, because now to play those teams all over the place, it's a big travel commitment and you're going to lose money. So, you know, it's advantageous for them to stay within the.
My follow-up deals with both St. Charles and what they did, and whether or not that's counterproductive to the entire process.
So far they're still viable, you know, so they're still out there. They, you know, I don't know how they're doing, the enrollment-wise, but they're hanging on. They made their choice, you know, but it's a financial commitment for sure.
Yeah, and when you're talking about gas now at $4.75 a gallon and
$4.99 in New York.
I was going to ask you just how much you saw there.
And you also got to factor in with that. That's not just regular gas. They're using diesel in the buses, so that's.
Yeah, you're going.
And there'll be a fuel surcharge on top of that.
Yeah, so there you go. So it's
That's
not.
a great
It's not a
point.
good. It's
now
not
I
a
know
good
why I
point.
brought her along.
Yes, because
like
all
that.
we can do is talk about sports.
I would have never drawn that one.
Nope. I like that. Thank you, because you made us smarter today. Because we're not bringing anything to the table. We're
Absolutely not.
That's it.
Are you familiar with what's happened at Fenway Park in the last couple of days? I don't want to blindside you into what the Red Sox are doing or not doing.
Winning?
Well, last night they're not doing.
They were winning.
They were winning, and they were winning healthily.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, Chad Tracy decided, I'm going to experiment with 2 young pitchers. Ba-boom, ba-boom, they lose 8-6.
And they were up. So, because at one point I did look and say, all right, they're up, you know, they're on a roll, and then they're bad. But, I mean, it's almost like he's trying to say, I'm playing with house money. This season's going to probably not go the way we need it. So let's throw some prospects on the mound. We can use them as trade bait. And maybe, you know, if they do well, great. But if not, we're really, there wasn't a big expectations so far. They're not going to get a bat. I heard the whole, you know, who was it? Kennedy was on the WEI. You know, they're not going to get anybody. They never do. They need a bat. Do you trade Duran?
After the last week, probably not, because he's had a
He's
good
the only one
straight
that
week.
kind of gets the energy going. You know, he's really the spark plug for that team. As he goes, the rest of the team kind of goes. But Roman Anthony,
Got to get back.
bust,
Got to get back.
bum.
Are you giving up on the next Ted Williams?
Yeah, right. No. I wish, he's up in Worcester. I tell my daughter, you're in Worcester, he's in Worcester. Go to a game.
You know, go meet him and
There's a lot of bums out there. So you just get at least a baseball guy or something, make some money. Maybe the guy makes it. There's someone out there in that clubhouse that, might be the next Ted Williams.
But there again, you think of the pressure now that he has.
Yeah.
Last year, he was the it man at the end.
Yeah.
Now you come into this season, and he ain't so much the it man right now. And
He's
so
very
now
noble.
now it's everybody's like, we got to get rid of him.
Yeah. I think that the culprit is the media. We build these people up.
That was my
build
other
them up,
point
and
to
then
that,
we
was the pressure
rip them
is
down.
placed on him now to carry on
Absolutely.
where you started from midway point of a season last year to now.
Yeah.
Yes, you had a great World Baseball Classic. And is this part of the curse of the World Baseball Classic that they say?
Yeah, it's just, it's probably too much too soon where the injuries happen. There's not enough training to build up everything. But I think it's, he's just a kid.
At
He's a
22
kid.
years
Yeah,
old.
he's a kid. They put a lot of pressure on him to be the guy that's going to, for the generational talent.
carry the
but
franchise.
he's just one of 9, and it's just the way it is. And, there's other guys. I like to see Marcelo Mayer. I don't understand why they haven't moved him to shortstop. I don't get that. That's his natural position.
Exactly.
And they won't put him there. It almost makes me think they don't want to put him there so that when the story gets back, it becomes a problem. Because once you put him there, he's there. So they're not doing that. So I think he's one of those guys that you got to put there, let him play his position. Stories,
Weren't they
arm is
saying the other
trash.
night when we were listening that Chad Tracy was thinking of giving him some throws over at short?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, and I'll tell you why. Over the course of his career in Boston, Trevor Story has had a Chris Sale kind of a career.
Yeah.
He's had one good year where he played 100 and some odd games, and that was last season. When he did show his stuff. He had 2 or 3 bad years before that where he was just undependable.
Right.
Undependable.
Right. And you like him. He's a good, there's nothing really bad about him. It's just
He's a great player when he's in the lineup.
Your
but now
best
he's gonna get in
ability,
the lineup.
your best ability is availability. And if you're never available, you really can't help the team too much. He did lead the team in errors, I think, up until where he was injured. So, the glove, the
But that
arm,
may have been
everything's kind of
because he
going
was
back.
injured. We don't know.
Probably, yeah. So, that'd be interesting because you got some pieces, you got some pieces to move around. But I just wonder when they're going to make that move.
And to me, right now, he should be there being the one as the leadership role model.
As he supposedly is.
Yeah.
Because that was Bregman last year, and he was kind of right there with Bregman working along with that. I think that should be his role right now is,
Clubhouse, just keeping everyone focused. You have so many young guys on that staff that you need some veteran presence, and I think that's important. And you're right. I just don't know if he's the guy, because when they fired Cora, I guess he made some comments that it kind of made it seem like he's the Cora guy and he's not happy with what they did. So if you notice, this injury and the change of leadership, it all kind of follows suit with one another. So
he's the AC guy because he's pretty much right about now the oldest guy on the team that would identify with how AC coached.
Yeah.
And I've got to believe, and I'll take this to the grave if I have to, Alex Cora was the guy for that team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's tough
And
to tell.
the firing fractures the clubhouse.
It does.
And when that happens, all bets are off, and things start to go downhill fast.
Yeah. I think he was a player. I watched the documentary on the Red Sox. And
He's a player's coach.
He's a player's coach when maybe you needed, but everything's analytical. So everyone's doing the data to everything. Everything's data driven, and he's an old school, feeling. And this is what looking at players and knowing players. So it's just a conflict of philosophies.
Kind of to put it that way, it's kind of like human coaching. When you gave up coaching for the same reason, except you gave it up. You weren't said, here's the,
Well, I was fired
in a way.
in a way.
In a way.
Yeah, I was let out the door. Like, you're a great guy, but you know what?
But there's a but in there.
Yeah, but you're an old nice guy.
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, I get that. I do understand that. It is.
But your ability to identify with the younger players now is not, in that 2 years time span, the kids change so much so I can see
I think
that.
there's a lot to be said to that. I think when
So
it
I
comes
think
to
that's
Tracy
I think that's
versus
what
Cora,
became with AC.
Cora was the be-all, end-all to people like Story and Bregman and a guy like a Wilson Contreras and Narvaez and people who have been around the Major League Circuit for a while. Whereas Chad Tracy comes in and he has a familiarity with Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and Peyton Tolle and Conley Early and the younger guys. And that's where the earthquake took place.
Yeah, it's definitely, you could say, you can draw a line to just the age of everybody. And it's kind of really, that's the main factor. You have a young, president of operations, you have a young coach, it's just a lot of youth. And so there's a youth, initiative going on there. And if you're not, you're not going to follow suit. It's like the Office episode where, Creed dyed his hair black because they knew the new people would kind of like throw all the old people out. So he's trying to look young. So yeah, that does happen.
I want to talk about A.J. Brown.
Yeah, interesting, right?
You're the football guy.
Interesting.
Does he count here? Is Green Bay now involved?
I don't know. I think that they've been dangling that carrot for so long. I mean, it's, you'll find out in June 1st where he goes. That's it. I know he had a good relationship with Mike Vrabel. They say that was when the Tennessee Titans got rid of him. That's kind of when the relationship fractured with Mike Vrabel and the GM because he didn't want to get rid of, A.J. Brown. Again, I think A.J. Brown does bring, a little bit of history and attitude, and you hope it's almost what Corey Dillon did too when he got in. Belichick was ready to deal with rein him in, rein Randy Moss in. And maybe Vrabel has that ability to rein those kind of guys who might have been difficult on their other teams to kind of bring them into the light, so to speak. Stephon Diggs did well. He was another guy who came in with a reputation of kind of being a malcontent or not overly agreeable with everybody. So we'll see. They need a number one receiver. I don't know if A.J. Brown's that guy, but they sure do.
It was interesting to see that work continues with the team, and that Vrabel and Drake May and Christian Ellis and some of the others came down to Providence and did a benefit thing with some youngsters, like was it 200 youngsters?
I think so, yeah.
It's good to see that basically became a vacation for them, as it were.
Yeah.
To spend some time with younger kids and impart their pearls of wisdom.
Good. Well, they need to. It's New England Patriots. It's not the Massachusetts Patriots, New England Patriots. So it's good to get their hands into all the other states around.
Have you heard anything from Xavier Trust or Quinny Pay with your Hendrick connections and stuff?
Nothing. I know I post stupid stuff. I'll post things of Molly on my story, and I know they see it. So at least they haven't iced us out yet. So, but a DM very rarely gets responded to, but it's okay.
Quinny now leaves Indianapolis.
Yeah, making a lot of money. Wow. Signed for, thank God, that's awesome. But yeah, he's playing for the Raiders.
Yep.
So that'll be, I think it's an awesome opportunity. He's going in as the man next to, there's Crosby and then there's him. And, they did make an effort. They signed a lot of free agent defensive guys. So, defense wins.
Week 3, I think, they play the Patriots. They come to Foxborough. You'll get tickets.
I won't. I want to go to. I want to go out there because there's going to be 1 million people here asking for tickets. I don't want to be
that guy.
No, I really don't want to be that guy. So I even when he came up for the Patriots, all that, I didn't go to any games. I just I didn't want to do that. Just I'll go to a home game. I'm sure there's not going to be a ton of people asking you for tickets there, and
If for some ungodly reason, something in the mail shows up from Quinny Payne. There's 2 tickets.
There's no way that's going to happen.
If it did, I'm theorizing.
Yeah, okay.
Hypothesizing.
Okay.
Does Cheryl go with you?
Yeah, I would take. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm sorry. I might take Molly because Molly's always had this. Quiddy, there's a picture of Quiddy and Molly when Quiddy was at Michigan, and so, she's always jazzed up that she has like an NFL person that still follows her. So I might bring Molly, but she's mad because she's like, can he at least introduce me to Tom Brady? Can he do something here? So I was like, Molly.
Now that he's playing at the
that was what she was thinking about right away. It's Tom Brady.
So cover the Red Sox, cover the Patriots a little bit.
A little bit.
I don't think there's any need to cover the Bruins. They're covered with their own blanket.
Guys, I know.
Yes, too bad. And it's not going to get much better.
Yep. Let me ask you. Here's my question. What is the love affair with Jason Tatum? What's the love affair with Jason? That's my point. Like, why are we so enamored with Jason Tatum and not Jaylen Brown?
Good question. I wish I had a logical answer. I think Tatum's early production, when he came to the Celtics in his first several years, he became the guy, with the 50-point games and the 28-point per game average, and he was the guy from Duke. But you're right.
And I think at that point he also showed that leadership ability that nobody else was willing to pick up at that moment.
Maybe, but don't forget who's head of the NBA Players Union. Jaylen Brown.
Is he really?
Or at least the team. He's at the team designated.
The team delegate?
Team delegate.
Okay, all right.
So there was more of a quietness. And I don't think Brown was as boisterous as Tatum was, and Tatum was more, I don't want to say socially acceptable, but he was more outgoing than Brown was. Brown was always introverted and let his play do the talking.
Yeah,
and the average Boston fan would rather have that
in-your-face kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine, because you listen to talk shows and, and everything's always been Jason Tatum and not, Jaylen Brown. And I always found that, in my opinion, I think Jason Tatum is probably a better basketball player, but he doesn't have that competitive run into the wall.
Fire, yeah.
He just doesn't. He's just kind of a mellow, like a slow burn kind of guy. I mean, maybe he does, and he just doesn't show it. But I just feel like, he doesn't have that dog in him.
He has talent.
And Brown doesn't have as much talent.
But he's got the fight.
But he'll fight a little more.
I'm going to dumb it down, and I probably take some reaction from this one. I think Jaylen Brown does not endear himself to Boston fans for a very simple reason. And this is going to sound very surprising. He doesn't make his free throws, especially when they count.
Well, I think it's a little deeper than that, but okay.
Yeah,
I don't think it's about
but
basketball.
I think that is.
I really don't think it's about basketball. I think it's about a lot of other things.
Yeah, but I think his mental acumen and his knowledge of
very smart.
Yep.
Dude went to Cal.
Yep.
Can't be done.
And I think
was
people
gonna say,
realize
he's
that.
very well spoken.
Yeah. He's not a dummy.
And he doesn't just focus on basketball.
And he wants other things. So he does more in the community. So if someone that hated Boston as much as they want to paint him out to be, he'd be gone. In that documentary, he likes Boston. He's invested in the community. He does things in the community. And so, it's very difficult. People don't really focus. They focus on the negative side of what he says. When he said this was his best season ever, this was his best season personally. And
I think people read too much into that.
I think he looked at it because everyone's going, well, you lost, you were up 3-1 and you lost. You're telling everyone this is your best season. I think
I think
the
quote was, "It's among my favorite seasons." I don't think he said this was my favorite season.
I think just the fact that he didn't say, "Well, we lost," and then this is kind of a bummer.
But either way, I think from the perspective of looking at it, of the player, of having he and Tatum on the court together, he showed what he could do without Jason Tatum next to him.
Yeah.
And that he could lead that team just as well,
right.
In a different way.
Yeah.
But
you don't need to get rid of. See, in all the talk shows are talking about who do you get rid of. You don't need to. The puzzle was broken when you got rid of Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
That's it. You needed a point that can control everyone's ego, and you needed a big man. That's it. That was those missing pieces. You got rid of those guys.
And at
These
that
two
time,
guys
because of
can't do it.
Because of
alone.
the new ownership, they were looking to cut payroll.
Yeah,
and those
they
are the
did.
two guys that have to go. Now the decision becomes, do you keep Derek White for the same reason? I mean, he's $30.3 billion. What was I telling you the other day? $30.3 billion.
I think so.
So if you're going to cut payroll again, he's the most likely person to go. Now what do? Do you move Peyton Pritchard to a point? Does Gonzalez come up and be the backup point guard to Peyton Pritchard? You know, and these are all questions that Joe Mazzulla is going to have to
Or
provide
does
an
this
awful lot
jump
of
into
input.
also the talk that keeps flying around now? Giannis for Jaylen Brown.
I think
Awful.
that's an awful mistake. Big mistake. Big mistake. Let him go somewhere else. He's not the guy. It's just you have two guys in Brown and Tatum who really with just two extra pieces can really get them to the finals again.
Go back to the great teams. Go back to the Jordan Pippen era. Go back to the Shaq Kobe era.
Yeah.
Where they always had that third guy.
Yeah. Miami Heat, the
Yep.
three. There's always that third guy is very crucial to the success. You know?
Yeah, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and what's his face?
Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. What's his face?
What's his
I thought he
face?
was good, so he's like the forgotten guy. But yeah, but
Right.
he was great.
It's like the three tenors.
Yeah. Well, the
Pavarotti
Celtics had the
and-
big. They had the three.
Yep.
Garnett, Allen, and Pierce. That's how they got through it. You know, in
Bird, McHale, Parrish.
that's it. So so you can't do it two. Two doesn't work, and that's what the Celtics have been playing with too. You know, Derek White didn't have a great year, and then Pritchard being a point guard, I think it takes him out of his game. I think you need a veteran presence, someone that's going to control things, and you got to play D, and you got to put the ball in the paint. You just can't start throwing threes and don't play D. Don't play
Yeah.
D.
But that's what they expect when Pritchard's on the court.
Yeah, I know. Take a
You only
crazy
want
shot.
three from him. You
I know.
don't need him going in for a two. You don't need
No.
him going to the line.
No. But you need and you need defense. And and Jaylen Brown is a good defender. Jason Tatum has never been known for defense. Do you really need that? Like if you're going to be great, you got to be great on both ends of the court. So that's one of my. He doesn't seem to have a lot of fire in his belly to play and compete. I'm sure he does, but it doesn't seem that way. And B, the defense, he cries when he puts up a three, it doesn't go in. He says he got fouled. All that, like he's part of that culture. That's no defense and cry.
Yep.
That's.
How does Joe Mazzulla navigate through all this?
I think he did a great job this year, right? He did awesome.
And people were calling for his head.
And again, who's the people? It's the same people that
Yep.
say that Roman Anthony's should be gone, and
The same people who are getting paid millions of dollars for being an antagonist.
They get a lot of money. Yep. Yeah, I know. I could do that for $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be a-
My
I
wife
could
would
be a
say I'm
jerk
an
for $1
antagonist.
million.
Yeah, my wife says I'm a jerk for free. So right now it just doesn't matter. So
We're done.
really,
Yep. It's, 11:01.
oof.
Time to go. No Johnny Boots, but that's okay.
Hope he's all right.
He'll be back with us next week. I think is Saturday off, so back at Dan's place. I
Are we?
think, next week?
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I know how to get there.
You'll get the message. Yeah, you can.
I
watch
know how
it.
to get there. Maybe Molly will wake up. Maybe she'll be bored. Yeah.
That would be good. I like to get that student athlete perspective.
Yeah, just the grade wise and all the stuff that they do. Yeah, because she had a different this year. It was she realized she put the student with the student athlete. Yeah, I think it finally kind of clicked. So your freshman year you're just having fun. You're in college. You're playing. It's like high school. But then as each year, it gets ratcheted up academically. So
First question I'm going to ask is her GPA.
okay,
Have her prepped for that.
all right. Yeah, I think she'll be happy with that.
Wifey, thank you. Thank you for breaking ground and becoming the first female co-host of this
It's been
thing.
a pleasure.
We're gonna have to save this episode.
For Barbara, for Mike Green, for Ben Barber, back in Control Room B, John Parenti, so long. See you next week on Settling the Score.